Yes, greetings, good evening, family. Sunday evening, I'm taking it that we've all had our fill and we're now relaxing, but as the record is saying, a lot of our young ones, loved ones, they're flying away to glory, and, with all that's been happening, it's a wonder as to how we understand or we learn to understand the trials, the tribulation, the lies, all of those things which are in circulation presently. Yeah, but yeah, we're here to tease your thoughts this Sunday evening, and I'm fortunate to have my brother Galactic Clyde in the studio. He was to have been here last week, but for whatever unforeseen reason, he wasn't able. So he obliged us by being here with us this evening. So whilst we settle, because we're running a wee little bit late, whilst we settle ourselves, then we can say that, we will make that preparation, which is to set the tone. I must thank our brother Leon for his Sunday show, and obviously I had carried on in line with what he had been doing, by making that transition with Kumbaya. I think he was able to hear that song, But yeah, we're again in the studio. It's been quite an interesting week, and I'm hoping that the listeners out there, yeah, will phone in to make their contribution, because last night we was out partying, we was at the right dance, drum and bass session, skanking until the wee hours. I think we left there something to 3, in the morning, and it's like when we were leaving, the car was jumping over the moon, because when we look up into the stars or up into the skies, it was a blessing to behold, so the rain held back. We partied. There was a time around about 1 o'clock I took a couple to the gates, and I was wondering to myself if the rest of them people now in the yard forgot to, what I'm saying? But such was the joy still, such was the joy, But yeah, I'll be right back, yeah? So just listening, just customary, this is the signature tune, yeah? Bless up.
Understand how man to man can be so unjust. I just don't know who to choose. You can go your way, I will go my own. Say the love of Almighty Jah will lead me on. Yes, you go your way, I will go my own. Say the love of Almighty Jah will keep me strong, so strong. Now the things are oh so clear, I've got to make a move. Hey, can't sit around, no. Friends are few who really care, and yes, I'd be a fool, hey, if I didn't know that. Hey. Every action will cause a reaction in my eyes. Say reaction can be a blessing in disguise. So I go on and I won't compromise. More strength for the wise. You can go your way, I will go my own. Say the love of the Almighty Jah will lead me on. Yes, you go your way, and I will go my own. The love of the Almighty Jah will keep me strong. Will keep me strong. Strong. Yeah. Come on. It was time for those who get to reflect in life. Open your eyes and see. Hey, for real. Almighty Jah will lead me on. You can go your way, and I will.
Yes, family, greetings. Some can go their way, but we have to stick to the ancestral path, and let God be our guide and our glory. Yeah. So yeah, respect to you, the family listening out there, those that were with us partying last night, manners and respect. I know it was a real joy. We didn't really want to leave the place, but to all things were, every time, everything is for its time and its moment and its purpose. But yeah, as is customary, as we will settle ourselves, we always have to be mindful that we didn't just come here like that. So first and foremost, my respect to the ancestors on whose shoulders I do stand, to management and engineers for making this program possible. That's to bless Radio 1 to afford us this blessing to know thyself. And I'm hoping over this period of rehab, lockdown, that you will better get to know yourself as well as your family and friends around you. My respect also goes out to the kings and queens out there active in the fight for justice, because with no justice there is no peace. So to a certain extent, it's like we're now at the end of our tether. Yeah, we've got to seize this moment in order to seek justice and to oppose the injustice that we've endured for over 400 years. Yeah, so we have to seize this moment. So I'm hoping, obviously, in having my brother in the studio, we will reflect on the times to which we're in, its significance, how we read, interpret, and then how we take ourselves forward. Again, we're engaged around 1,000 drums, and that journey has been for at least 6 months now, and it continued to grow and be exciting and definitely a healing as well as an education for us who have been associated with. So we are encouraging of yourselves to be involved, and we will speak more on that at some point later on. Yeah. For myself, obviously, it's been a busy week as usual in protests all over, of which I had supported and been part again of the planning. Yeah. My salute to the soldiers and the generals out there on the front line, taking their stand and not kneeling nor bowing at this time, because it is so, so necessary. Yeah, respect to the Joy Gardner family for the enduring strength, and for those again who give their support for their cause. Yeah, the Windrush generation, again, we salute yourself, obviously myself being part of, yeah, that we continue to remind, yeah, the institutions as to their responsibility, their failings, and we need to constantly remind them, because I have a slave name. It wasn't one of my choosing. It was taken or imposed upon me. So I'm still trying to rekindle and to find my true identity, which is my ancestral and African roots. Yeah. So I salute those of you who have been able to establish that so far. Yeah. My respect obviously again out to Omawali, Rupert and Uro, and the desire for the Okombozi drum beat, that's to say the 1,000 drum. It was a fantastic turnout last night over there in the woods. It wasn't a full moon, but we were doing some rehearsal for not this week coming, but for the following week. So I'm encouraging you that you need to get your ears peeled, yeah, and find out where we are gonna be. We did libation again, and yeah, it was somewhat uplifting, healing, yeah, and a powerful vibration from the whole evening, So a lot of us felt more love, more joy, and to a certain extent, certain powers, and we even set about to look at our own skill set within the group and looking forward as to how we're going to structure ourselves so that we can be more, we'll say, more equipped, yeah, to adapt ourselves within the environment that we're putting ourselves in the woods. And whilst I'm saying that, obviously, we're reminded that we're asking that, those of you who can, must, not travel with your smartphone, and also those of you who do use your camera when you are there, that you take yourself away from the circle in order to so do. Yeah. But yeah, where we're at presently, yeah, I mean, this government obviously continues to spread confusion and to take liberties with us. And also, you can see that they're hell bent to divide and inject us. Now, that is a case both here in the Americas as well as in Jamaica. Now, to my understanding, because I've struggled to get through to Jamaica this week because there's been substantial amount of rain down there. I'm seeing Kawa Washwe, and things like that, But the government obviously is heading for trouble because last week again the Maroons were out in revolt, and it is a case that the government had subjected themselves to bribery to a certain extent, because we know that the wrongs which has been done insofar as they're meddling with, or conniving with the likes of Bill Gates, So last week I was able to bring to you the fact that back as far as 2007, the then MP Ronnie Thwaites, who was a PNP government minister, had accepted some financial backing, and that was, what do you say, made open to the public through the Jamaican Observer. So we've seen lightning and thunder in St. Thomas, Portland side, and obviously that in part is because of the unholiness, that is going on down there within the country, you know. But yeah, where we are now presently, I'm fortunate, as I said previously, to have had Galactic Clyde in the studio to give his spin. Yeah. So up until that time, I would like to, if I can put my hands in it. Where's my little red book? Okay, I need to find my red book. So let me just play another track, Fauna, until, yeah, and then I'll just come up on the thing.
Day after day, I pray and I pray. We could all just learn, leave and love one another. A world without no wars, no boundaries, because we need to learn more of the meaning of sharing and caring. Everyone needs someone, yeah. Remember that no man is an island, oh no. So don't be afraid to give a helping hand. Tell me, am I not my brother's keeper? Let me know. Show love. You got to sow some seeds. Love, yeah. Show love. Yeah. It's what black children do. Show some love. Show some love. Yeah. Yes, you know that we need all love.
Yes, family. Yes, manners and respect. Yeah, what the good book say this week, love is the key to our destiny. Yeah, so we need to show love, more love, and nothing but love. Yeah, so what the good book asks of you is to use your time and knowledge properly to carry out honestly and diligently the task and responsibility entrusted to you. Yeah, so we all possess a spiritual guide, one that guides as well as protect. Yeah, and to a certain extent, you could say there is also one that can destroy. But we're dealing with love here, so we need not dwell upon that one. You know that it would appear to be akin to Western society because they've got no moral compass, no guidance. And on reflection, I can think back. It's like from the time when Mary Whitehouse departed. Yeah, everything has gone topsy turvy. You know, every single thing has gone topsy turvy. But we live in a world right now that you could see clearly is revelation. Judgment is on the land. Babylon is falling in front of our very high. And concerning is like for ourselves, you know, we've heard records in the past saying it's black man time, Africa is calling, you know, but how awake are we in order to address the situation and to take advantage of the moment in order that we can grasp our full responsibility, you know. So after the tune, we're going to come back to meet and greet our good brothers given the time, because you know oftentimes you know you have to make a sacrifice because you're neglecting to a certain extent your own family at home, you know, in being able to make this time for yourselves. Yeah, so after the tune, yeah,
Now together we go on.
it's Galactic
Our
Glide.
nation is so strong. Let us move on hand in hand to the promised land. Step in one accord, giving eyes to our love. No matter how times are, we must get our love. Sometimes it's so hard to see where you're going. So you got to remember where you're coming from. Overstanding is the only thing that keeps the world turning. Words of righteousness will always live on. Yes, they will. Show love. You got to sow some seeds. Love, love, show love. So what your children need. Love, yes, you know that we need all love we can get.
Yeah, the studio line for you, the listeners out there, 079-444-31366. That's 079-444-31366. Yeah, we're looking for responses to the party, the dance last night. Yeah, and for those who may well have questions in relation to the signs to which we're seeing out there and not understanding, you know. So my good brother in the studio hopefully will be able to decipher, break it down for us in a holistic way, yeah, so we can have a better grasp and understanding as to what it is saying, you know. Coincidentally, we were touching a little bit on the burst water pipe main and thing like that, you know what I'm saying? So that's just a tease. It starts a little bit. You understand? So there's a natural mystic forever blowing through the air, and I really want to know that. You understand? So when we say enough is enough, we definitely fed up, you know. But a little bit of a little concern still that my brother Leon was on a little bit earlier, you know, so I know that this program is enough, but it's called Concept to Wrath, you know what I'm saying? But there is two wrath. I'm forever having to justify myself, yeah, because I brought to you a double-edged sword. Yeah, I brought to you a double-edged sword, you know, which represent the secular and the holy. You know, for those of you who think you're holier than thou, Yeah, we've got WRATH, where I'm obviously pushing the fact that God is not best pleased with us as mankind, more so Western society. He's concerned for our well-being, our relationship, our attitude, our truth, and with our hopes, where we place, our trust. If we trust in Him, fear Him, or we put our trust in a man and fear man, which is our government. Yeah, and then on the other side, obviously, the future lies with our young people. So again, I'm saying outside of love, what our young people need is real, active, structured, supported solutions. Yeah, so that is a case whether you're young or you're old. Yeah, that's what we need. And I'm hoping to be able to establish amongst ourselves that as a brand which is now registered so that we can regenerate, pool our resources, and make a statement at the same time without even having to say anything, just playing the drum. You understand? I'm giving the vibration. Yeah? So make it roll. Yeah?
Show some love.
But I know how them things
Everyone needs someone.
2-4
Remember that no man is an island, So don't be afraid to give a helping hand. Tell me, am I not my brother's keeper? Yes, you are. Show love. You got to sow some seeds. I see it's what we need. Show love. Show love.
I don't know if I headphone now.
You will know. It's headphones, man. That will be alright. And then the yellow voice.
Yeah, that's good.
Whoa,
Yeah, well, with a lot to use the tools still,
these are words. As you open your eyes, remember to give God the glory. And you must realize the love He has for us, for Him to rise with today. To I be giving all my thanks and be paying them my reverence. The punishment for disobedience is only sorrow and pain. So tell me why the fight? Why you killing one another? Yeah. Why don't we all unite like sisters and brothers? So you can see the war. You see a blood that a run, a judgment come. Seize the war. Your health and your strength and all your faculties, so I worry. Oh, I say, don't you dare come to kill your brother man now for money. No, way. The road will be rough ahead. A situation can get very jail.
Monday to Friday, and 8 a.m.
One love we want down there. So seize a blood that I run, judgment come, seize the war. Hey, seize the war. A blood that I run, judgment come, seize the war. Oh, seize the war. A blood that I run, judgment come, seize the war.
Between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 8 a.m. to 8
Yes, family. Yes, family. So yeah, we're good to go. Yeah. So I've given you the phone line, but just before we go and join or to bring in Galactic Clyde, yeah, I'll give it to you again. 079 444 313 66. Yeah. So that is the studio line. Yeah, for you. Yeah, so my good brother, thank you for your time. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, tell the listeners as to who you are, your significance, in as much as what God's given you, I would say as a gift for you to interpret the signs which are out there, and for you to be able to take us back before you take us, say, forward. Obviously, for me, it's been a real joy. The last 6 months, where we've been and what we've seen unfolding in front of our very eyes. So yeah, introduce yourself to.
Come in eight. Let me go in eight. I'm Galactic Clyde. Galactic means it's from the Mayan system. It's what they call it, based on the Zolkin system. It's the 8th tone of the 13th tone of the Mayan astrological system or Zolkin system, and Galactic is my tone, and it represents what I have to strive for, which is it represents integrity, and so I have to strive to be integral. It's who I am and who I ought to be. So I'm Galactic. Clyde is my name, so I'm Galactic Clyde. I'm an astrologer. I've been studying astrology from since the mid-90s, and I've done astrology classes and astrology talks and astrology reading over time. I've covered different aspects of astrology and health, astrology and the world as astrology system, individual astrology, as well as astrology dealing with the fixed stars or lucky stars and things of that nature. Also, an herbalist. I've been studying herbology way before I learned about astrology. I've been studying herbology from since I was a youth growing up in the Caribbean, and went to the UK, United States, and I study astrology. I study herbology there, and I'm in the UK, and I'm still studying. This is a lifetime study, so I'm still studying, and as I'm studying, I'm also teaching. I take people on herbal walks so they can actually see some of the herbs in the woods, rare herbs that people don't even know grows in this country, herbs from other countries that are growing right here, Japanese type herbs that are considered, people may think that is in China, that is right here, and different herbs that are good for a lot of different issues that people are facing, and I'm talking about herbs that you can take during this time of all of the stuff that is going on, and we may list some of them later on. We'll see how that goes. Okay. I'm also studying numerology. I study symbology. I study a little the esoteric science, which they call, some people call it magic. Some people consider esoteric science as obia, witchcraft. Another one is sorcery, those different things I study, so I have an understanding. And this is because of how I grew up. I was influenced to be interested in these things as a means of protection, as a means of understanding, so that I would know where, or overstanding, so I know where I stand in this time, as things are very much elusive. And so this has helped me to kind of, understand how the world is structured and how it's governed, and most of it is done through secret order, secret society, secret government, or governments, or the elitists behind the government. So I get to understand how they utilize and use symbolism and use the different esoteric sciences as a means of control and a means of manipulating the public in many ways. Yeah. Clyde said, take it back, take it back, take it back. Well, how far back, Clyde? Because we could go way back,
Well,
because I deal with...
I would like, I think my take, I think, would possibly go back to, I think it may well have been last year when we had the red moon. I don't know if you can remember.
Not last year, I think the year before.
It was a year before.
Yeah,
well,
last year.
That might be too.
Yeah, it's last year. Because last year we go from the red
beginning.
moon to the white wizard.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was at the
So last year
beginning.
was the ending of the red moon, then into the white
Yeah.
wizard.
But
Yeah.
before you go
Yeah.
back on that, I mean, you touched on something which, it's like you said the occult, and then you mentioned Obia.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'd like for you to give a little spin on that as to your understanding, and where in insofar as our own thinking, particularly African Caribbean. I mean, for Caribbean, it's more the Obia. I don't know as to how they would classify it as in Africa, but I know it definitely deals with our spirituality.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the projection or perception when it comes to the Caribbean is seen as a negative, yeah. But it might be because of us, the powers that be have always been able to divide our mindset. So we know we're having this spiritual warfare presently as well. So just elaborate a bit
So,
on your understanding.
Obia, it could be considered there's like everything else. There is a left-hand part and a right-hand part to all things. Christianity, the mysticism. There's good and bad in everything. So Obia, most time when we hear the word Obia, they're talking about the negative aspects of it. But Obia have a negative aspect to it as well as a positive. And so the negative aspect is where people use the esoteric science as in a destructive manner, and that's where most time we hear about this Obia. And one of the things that we learn in the Caribbean, men used to walk around with kerchief with compelling powder in the kerchief that they would shake onto the female that they be interested in, and that compel them to be somebody that they fall in love with, because the woman is attached to whatever the composition made in that powder that actually makes the woman fall in love.
Okay, but so you're saying the powder did work?
Is the powder do the work? Yes.
So it does work.
It does work, and a lot of it is being handed down to us in different stories that we don't understand. That is stories. A lot of the fairy tales are actually stories of certain enchantment and obia. And one case in point that actually some of the powder that is made for compelling is made from the frog energy, the energy of the frog. And so when you hear the princess married to the frog, or the prince, the princess married to the frog, that's what they're talking about. So somebody a woman fall in love with a man who actually use compelling powder, and them the compelling powder is made from the energy of the frog. So they're married to the man because of the frog powder, hence the princess married to the frog. Code. So a lot of these things come down now we would not know, because we're taught not to study the esoteric because it's wicked, it's witchcraft, it's all of that stuff, it's obia and all of that. But obia itself, the word itself, come from something called obi, or the obi seed, which is known in Jamaica as busy. Because if you notice, you see a lot of continental, preferably Nigeria, use the obi in prayers for marriage, because it got the energy of contractual. It helps to join or concrete or concretize or connect both male and female in terms of a ritual ceremony. So that is used because it's like a contract that you bond each other to the connection of the ancestors. You see some of the Nigerian movie where they use the obi seed. If somebody's lying, they could end up in a fatal death if they lie against the obi seed. So that was part of the court order dealing with the magic of plants, because plants carry different types of influence. So the obi seed was aligned with what is called obia. Obi is to obey. And so you got another one which is called the wanga. Most people don't know. Wanga is another esoteric science in Africa where they call the wanga. Not the wanga, which is the wanga bank that you used to see those two old lady doing credit something where they used to give out loan. But it's the wanga is an ancient system, come from a seed that is used actually as is called the wanga seed. And I normally show people the plant that is really connected to wanga, and it's a plant that is very poisonous. It's also very healing, and it's also very magical. If you want to walk to wall, this is one of the plants you want to know about. I'll leave you with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, you mentioned obi. Is there such a thing as an orb, which is a light sign, like
A
a
what?
star? A orb? Orb?
Orb, yes, they call it. Yes, you have like what you call floaters, or they call a orb, where you see them. You know, we actually when we did the labyrinth, we had the orb, a dancing orb in the labyrinth, because those are energy beings, similar to what you see in the movie, like Tinkerbell, where you see that magic dust is pour, and then you see the spirit appear, or the angelic being appear. They could appear as an orb and just disappear in that sense. Yeah, so that's an orb. You see a lot of them around, you know, where entities or energies just, you know, transcend time and space and be like an orb energy. But some of those are very loaded with a lot of intelligence in that sense.
Okay. Again, you've just mentioned the labyrinth. I mean, again, I was fortunate. I mean, I think that's probably going back about three, maybe 4 weeks.
Oh, yes, at the labyrinth.
Back. I mean, I was at that one down, what was it, Lee Bridge?
Lee Bridge, yes.
Lee Bridge Road. You know, I've not had the opportunity, obviously, to bring your feedback to the audience or the listeners out there. I mean, for me, I think on that day, for whatever reason, we had us to take ourselves away. I don't know where it is that. I can't remember where it is that we had us to go. I think actually it was one of the shows. Yeah, I think it was probably the radio show.
Oh,
because
yeah,
it was
you
on
had a radio
Sunday.
show on, yes, so you had to leave early, yes. That's what you
Yeah,
mean?
and I left. Yeah, I left at a time when I could see more drummers was
coming,
coming. You know, but because of my commitment with the station, I had to come in. But yeah, I heard that afterwards, you know, it became such a fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing. And talk about another miracle happened, because the gate man normally come there by 7:30. The gate man couldn't make it because he was sick. So they
Okay.
had to call the police to come there to lock up. So actually, we went on till we continued till 8 o'clock. You know, they got the bass guitar and we had the drum, and they was like, we didn't want to stop. So the police, they came and they said, well, they came to lock up, you know. So we had to, you know, but just when they came, we were just about closing down, because we know we can't go past 8 in there. But we had it. We were having a good time.
Yeah, and
Good time.
again,
And the energy there was very powerful.
Yeah, and it would appear, because I'm seeing that very much like it was a time capsule, because it had the different, it was segmented, the circle, that it seemed like it had a time segment. I was trying to find out if it was actually 24 different.
Oh, you mean how the pavement was laid out? Yeah. Yes, he's talking about the slab. There was some slab from the granary, or what they call the mill. So when they take the mill, there was a mill in that area of Leabridge and Chatsworth, and when the mill was taken down, they used the slab from the mill and create a platform in the woods there, and that's where we laid the labyrinth on. Now the labyrinth is a very ancient symbol of in terms of connecting people with higher dimensional energies and frequency. It helps us to deal with to overcome the dissonant or the dissonance in society, and be more accessing more resonant frequency or higher vibration and energy when we're going through stress and all kind of nonsense in society. Walking the labyrinth help us to override and to deal with the issues. And one of the people that was using the labyrinth a lot was the Charts in France in the 12th century. So that labyrinth that we draw there, which is a 42 feet labyrinth, was based on the labyrinth that's still in the charts from the 12th century. And I strongly believe that labyrinth, or the knowledge of that labyrinth, was given to them by the Esseim, who was a set coming out of ancient ancient Egypt or Kemet. So the labyrinth is definitely aligned with some of the African influence, because when you go to Africa, you see a lot of stone circles and things of that nature. Yeah.
Well, again, one of the fascination before I left, I mean, I could see the energy, because it just so happened, I don't know, I just found myself, I think I was at, in some case, you can interpret it as being at 12 o'clock, but
Okay.
I think I was more at 6 o'clock, because I was looking back.
Yes.
I was on that side.
And the layout,
Yeah,
yes.
and I could see the interaction, it's like refraction, where the sun and the air, whether it's smoke or interacts, so it created a ray.
Yes.
And then it then came down to the center, and then as I was actually filming, because I think I'd actually set the camera.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually I was holding, because I think if I remember correctly, I did it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and whilst I was doing it, and I ended up doing it one eye, and I just couldn't stopped filming. So I was actually playing the drum one-handed, and I could then see this energy turn into like an image. Yeah?
Yeah.
And from the moment I got that image,
Yeah.
I was able to work with the
Yeah.
image.
And so the image was similar to heat wave, because I saw it. It seemed like a lot of heat wave was in the area generated from the sun, because the labyrinth in connection to the sun is very, very powerful. There's something with the labyrinth and the energy of the sun. And it's interesting because in the labyrinth in charts, where it's drawn inside the church, there's a stained glass window that during the equinox and solstice, the sun of the equinox and solstice shine in on the labyrinth and activate some energy frequency. So what you were seeing there is an energy frequency similar to when you see like a hot day on the sun, when the sun shining on the concrete, and that's why you were seeing a lot of like almost like a rays of energy over, and it was amazing because I looked at it to see how it impacts in the tree. And it's always very, very powerful when you do the labyrinth and the sun comes out. It's just you just welcome the energy of the sun in connection.
Yeah, well, that again explains to you, the listeners, my excitement and my my search to better understand what it is that I am seeing. Yeah. Because not only am I being fortunate to be sitting in a seat that my good brother Dougie and our sister Jen had occupied before myself, but I have, over the past 6 months, I'd been introduced through my good brother Dougie to Galactic Clyde, Omawali, and Vasco, and there are so many out there, and I'm hoping at some point to reconnect. So it's not a case that I've taken myself away from you family, it's just the way things are working at the moment. So I'm asking that you bear with myself, but at the moment I'm on a journey, and part of that involves my good brother here. We've been to Glastonbury. He's taken me through the labyrinth and I started the labyrinth and then him tell me something I have to finish. You understand? And the finish is walking to the end and actually walking back out. So because my steps are not, predetermined. I try, and I do believe I'm moving in spirit as well as in truth. So I'm trusting of my brother to guide me to a certain extent through my thinking as well as my understanding, and that is why he's with us here today. So we've touched on the labyrinth, the red moon. I'd like for you to give some thoughts to that, because I'm going to come back to it.
Okay.
But our journey this year, for me, the most exciting thing this year, and I believe obviously I was there for a purpose.
Okay.
I've taken a picture and I've posted this picture so many times that it's getting on people's nerve, which is me facing the Thor at Glastonbury.
Yes.
With my T-shirt on the back saying enough is enough.
Okay. Let me explain a little of that. So here is Clive walking up the Tor, Tor, which is a mountain or mountainous area in Glastonbury, which is called the Tor. It's actually a little bit higher than the Great Pyramid. So he's going up the Tor, and he's asked us to take a picture with the T-shirt that he have, which it marks in the back, enough is enough, and he had a drum in his hand, and that's a very powerful picture to see Clive there with his special hat, magical hat on, going up the Tor with this
what about the lion on the front and the ras to ras? Because that's one thing, listeners. What you don't see on the front of the T-shirt, obviously, because you see in the back, what I was facing Tor with was a T-shirt which in part was the result going back, I think to a certain extent we could accredit it to Julia Gomez. A young man died a year ago now. But he was a Leo, and again, like Lady Leo being a Leo, so the lion has been very prominent. From last year to this year, and even when we go Trafalgar Square, we plant ourselves amongst the lions. So it's like we're in the lion's den. So we're conscious that this moment that we've been directed in a certain way. Well, I feel this way because obviously I've been directed towards Galactic Clyde, and I think since we've come together, and again with Omar Wally, there's been like some wonders.
Yes,
Things are
yes,
happening in
yes,
such
yes.
a way that I don't understand. I mean, people are saying that it's more potent than it was previously, but I don't know different. I'm just walking the walk in faith with yourselves,
Yes.
because you're further up the road insofar as your understanding in what you're doing. I'm just a bridge at the moment, but also obviously the same way I've learned now to play the drum, I need to have a
Oh
better.
man, Clyde,
I need to have a
you
better.
just mash up the drum, man. It's like
I'm making the woods mine. Listen,
Yes.
I can't explain nothing about the drum.
yeah,
All I know is I hit it. No, to be honest, I know that I can play
You've
because
gone-
I can
you've
now
gone-
spread
you've
my.
gone
I'm
miles,
spreading.
man.
I am spreading my
Yes.
fingers like a
Yeah.
piano.
You're amazing me now with the drum. Whereas
No,
the Clyde
I'm,
is like, yeah.
I'm telling you, and I'm coming to realize that once I start lick the thing, is like a certain
You
vibration
just got it. You got it.
start coming through.
He's activating his genetic memory playing the drum.
I don't know what is happening, but right now it's all fun, and like I'm saying, it's a natural mystic blowing through the hair, yeah. But at the end of the day, I think what we're affording, or we're trying to afford you, and what the T-shirt says on the front, as I'd explained a bit before, is real, active, structured, supported solutions. That's what we're asking or offering. But because the acronym spells RAS, and we know the power of that roar, yeah, and the time to which we're in is like we need to be making demand of ourselves as well as society out there, yeah, in order for us to take a stand.
Yes.
And say enough is really and truly
Enough.
enough.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we've gone into the tour into Glastonbury, which I know you're going to elaborate more, because we never just got to the tour. We go in the city, yeah. We went in where the dragon, and again I've lost, there's so many images that I've had to delete
Okay.
because it was just too much for the phone.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Now
like,
send them to me if you don't want it, if you have a problem, and I store them because I'm the storage man.
okay, well
I've got
again,
a hard
that's what
drive, I
we
store
yeah
them.
we
Any
need to.
picture, because I got a lot of pictures going back over the days. I just put them on my hard drive. Save them
Okay,
because,
did I send
yeah.
you the one with the gong?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you've
I
still
still
got
have
it?
them. I still have them. Yes.
Oh man, listen.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like we mess up the timber
So
because the
you
bass
wa-
was.
So you want to talk about it? Should we talk about it?
Yeah, well,
let's
let's
go into it. So our ancestors says that and this is in the book called the what they call it, Kybalion.
Kybala.
If it,
Oh.
Kybalion,
Kybalion.
which is Kyblion.
Okay. There's
Kybalion.
another one is a Kabbalah.
Yeah, Kabbalah is different.
It's different.
Kabbalah,
Okay,
yeah, Kabbalah is like
okay.
the Hebrew or Jewish mystic system, Kabbalah. So Kybalion now is a knowledge base on universal principles, and so in the Kybalion it talks about vibration, because when we talk about the drum we talk about vibration. And it says he who knows the secret of vibration has grasped the scepter of power. This is a very key thing to know.
Okay.
And so when we're playing the drum, when we're doing this, we're dealing with the energy of vibration. So let me give you a little magic here. We went to Trafalgar Square, and I walked with an what they call it, tuning fork. And I got the message from Spirit. I take the tuning fork, and I resonate it, and I go and I touch it to the 4 lions in Trafalgar Square. So what happens? I had the lion vibrating to the sound of the So I went there and I touched all 4 lions. I vibrate the tuning fork, touch 1 lion, continue and touch all 4 lions, and then I go and touch the central column, which the lion is sitting in between. Which is sitting between the lion. Yes. So
okay, that's what
yes. So while we're there chanting and playing the drum, we're vibrating to the energy of the which is the universal energy, is similar to the sound of the
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we're playing the drum, we're also activating energy, because the sound of the drum is a vibrational energy. When we go in the woods and we play the drum, we're also telling the trees they have to vibrate under that energy. So the trees are picking up that energy and they're also vibrating on that energy. So each time we go back to the woods, the trees say, here they come again. More energy for us to vibrate. So what we're doing, we're activating, or we're sending out a vibrational frequency throughout the whole of Britain via the drum, via the tuning fork, or whatever instrument we're using. So when we go on Glastonbury, which is one of the highest peak, as resonating with the Great Pyramid, and we play the drum inside the tour, because there's a building up there. We go inside. I remember one year when I took 2 coaches down there and a minivan of people down there to Glastonbury. We were loaded and we went up on the tour, and I understand, because there's energy capsulate within the stone. Always remember, when you go sacred site, there's energy capsulate in there, and what you need is vibration to help release it. So when we play the drum now, the energy which is called the St. Michael and St. Mary line, or the grid line, came up and started to intertwine. And so one lady got so heated, she started taking off her jacket because she couldn't understand why the heat is coming up in her body. She started taking off her jacket because she started feeling the energy. Shazan, her son was there, and he said when the drum started to play, he felt a shift in his body, and he went out and sit on the grass, and he had a download of energy. He had a mystical experience. And I think he went about 12, 13 then. So a lot of people were having the experience, because I understand by playing the drum, we activate the energy encapsulated. Remember, symbolism and wisdom is that stone, yes, is symbolic of wisdom. Wisdom is like a rock. Understanding is like water that is flowing. Hence, when you hear Moses struck the rock, and water come, it's understanding and wisdom they talk about. They wasn't talking about the rock. But people get caught up because it's esoteric, and that's why it's important to understand esoteric science, because a lot of messages passed down via esoteric for the people who have that higher knowledge or understanding, so we can break down or realize what is happening. So when we go to sacred places, if you don't have a drum, walk with the tuning fork, because what you're doing, you're tuning with the energy that's been there in hundreds of years or thousands of years, and you activate that. You see? And then you say, because remember what it says, he who understand or overstand the what they call it, vibration, has grasped the scepter of power.
Okay.
So vibration is also represented under the scepter of power.
Okay, well, that very vibration that you're talking about, for me, it was clear and evident at our brother Dougie's ascension, because at the time when his body was brought to the home, the drummers were outside playing. But when the appointed time came for him was to leave,
yes,
and we were drumming, the car alarms, they started to go off.
See.
Yeah, and that was a sign and the signal that I picked up. And from there, that's where the 1,000 drum was born.
So what was the concept? The concept is resonate. Because by you play the drum vibration resonate the energy that the alarm, and all of them go off. So this is what we're doing. So when we're playing, we're sending out a resonant frequency throughout the whole of Britain, because it's traveled to the air.
Well, that's what I saw, and I wasn't even playing drums.
And it's traveling to the earth, and it's traveling into the earth core. So what we're doing, when we do it in a small area, is resonating the whole of the country, similar to what you experience with the
but obviously on a greater scale, because
on
I
a
mean
bigger scale,
the thought of having 1,000 drum,
the
impact that's gonna have,
and it's building,
and again we've already secured amongst the lions, because what you've said there is something I wasn't even privy to before in what you've done. So
any sound, anybody goes there and even knock the drum or make any sound, even the cars making sound in there, activate the energy that is encapsulated with the lion and the stone. So really that energy would be still resonating in there. That's the power of understanding how esoteric works, because esoteric is part of prophecy, of prophets, or biblical knowledge, or spiritual knowledge, or wherever you want to call it. You can't get rid of esoteric, because what it is the secret behind the secret, natural mystery, or natural mystics. blowing in the
Okay,
wind.
it's blowing in the wind. Okay, so again, it's even like the tunes that I'm choosing to play. You know, it's
See.
just for whatever there's like a natural force that is pulling me towards, and I've even gone so far as to say like, no, I ain't even gonna be telling people who I'm having on the show.
Okay.
I'm
See.
keeping that a bit of a,
So you're
a
coming with
mystic.
the element of surprise.
Yeah.
Seeing.
Yeah. I'm just building on the fact that when they come, they're gonna say Ross.
Yes.
They never really expect that.
Yes.
So it's the unexpected, you know, that I'm hoping to be able to offer. And again, obviously, having this platform, both like for yourself in what you're doing, the drummers in what they're doing, Antigene, because that's another thing I need to pick up on, the Garvey Village,
Okay.
because that deals with our Pan-African consciousness,
Mhm.
which again, Lady Leah, Brother Dougie,
Mhm.
that's where our path had crossed a younger period, a younger age than say, you know. So what I'm doing now is not my effort. I'm just basically walking the walk, you know,
See.
along the path that I've been guided, you know. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we're in Glastonbury. We saw the impact. We saw how the music actually traveled people. They lost control.
Yeah, it was like people could like, what's going on? The place was energized, and we had one coconut in the center there, and so it was amazing what happened there. It's on YouTube. You can go onto YouTube and see the drumming that we were doing at Glastonbury, and it's Galactic GLYDE going beyond COVID-19. So if you type in
Okay.
Galactic GLYDE going beyond COVID-19, you can see we there just blasting out the drum. And
yeah.
actually, we need to take the 1,000 drum down to
there.
Glastonbury, but we
Yeah.
wouldn't. We will do that, and hopefully
summer.
it would happen. It would happen. When it happen, it would happen. So we can announce that because of all the stipulation and rules that's going on, and because we're
Presently.
breaking the rules, because the rules are very tyrannic, and because they're tyrannic, we're standing up against any tyrant. We're standing up against anything that is considered negative, because we're coming with the positive spin, and we have to push more positive, because the negativity, we just can't take it because it's not right. And so therefore we come in unannounced. We're doing what we have to do, because we have to stand up against the injustice, the tyranny, the tyrannic system.
Yeah.
We have to live in love and light without apology.
Yeah. Well, without a doubt, you know what I'm saying. So, again, so we take ourselves away from there. But again, it's good to know that you've got the videos with the what was it, the gongs.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because
Yeah.
I myself I'd lost track
That's the jack. Okay.
of it.
Let me
because-
mention about the gong. So while we were on the tour, there was a group there with a whole lot of gongs. So imagine we're up there with the drums, and there's a group there with a whole lot of gongs up there playing gongs, and then there's some people there also meditating, and then some other people look like they had a band bring up there to play. But we take center stage with the drum, and at one point they come and say, "Well, we got to give them a blind,"
Yeah, them off of Bengal because the drums was killing them things. But then
Yeah.
again, in so saying,
Mhm.
that's why when I left there, we said whatever plan them they left for this year, mash up.
Yeah. We
That
chat
tot-
down Babylon there.
Yeah,
with that.
we mash it up, and we've continued in that
Yes.
in that vein,
Yeah.
both in the park and
Yeah.
and in the woods.
Yeah. Another thing that happens we could talk about is that when we went to the Psychic Gate, there's a gateway down in Glastonbury which is called the Psychic Gateway, and we went there, and as soon as we pull up there, because we decided that we're going to go there to dedicate the statue or the bust of Marcus Garvey at the Psychic Gate, because the energy that the bust represents, with the serpentine stone we had, it actually was about the gateway energy, or the influence of it is to open up gateways. So we went there, and as soon as the van pull up at the gate, we start feeling the energy of that place right in the van. It start running through all of us. And we went there, we put down a cloth and did a ceremony there that was really powerful.
We did libation, and
Yeah.
that again, energy and force obviously has
Yeah.
remained. Well, I know with myself, so I'm taking it. It's
Yeah.
with all of us, and we've added that obviously to the 1,000 drums.
Yes.
and we're continuing to grow. So much so that last night was a party.
Yes.
You know, even
Yes.
after you left us
See.
in the woods there, you know, we had a, would you consider, a wicked time?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wanted to be able to stay over there one whole night. Really, don't really just set up a tent and just stay. I think we should do that eventually. But last night, yeah, I went there. I was enjoying the drumming. I did a video there, but I had to work the next day. So if I did stay, I wouldn't make it to work, because I know I had all the job that I needed to get done before other people come in on the job. So I left a bit. I left and I said I was gonna consider coming back, but I said no. It would no way that I could come back. So I just said, let me just pull out and go home and get enough rest. So I managed to get the rest because I know I had to come in today, so I was good to go.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Good
again,
to
as I said, I mean, last
But it
week,
was lovely.
yeah, we missed your presence last week, but maybe I hadn't seen like yesterday's event that had been planned, you know. So it's
Okay.
a blessing in disguise, because
Yeah.
obviously, you know, we're dealing with last week, and also we're dealing with this week.
Yes.
Well, again, you raise an interesting thing. In
Oh yeah,
regards to
I was
the
gonna go
water.
into that. Yes.
Yeah, so maybe you
Want me to
can
talk about that.
Yeah.
But first, let me do an observation and a critique on the drumming. We're gonna say people when telling everybody when they come into the drumming, remember that the drum circle is a spiritual circle and it's dedicated to the ancestors. So what we're doing there, it's really a ceremony. And so for people who wants to do a sort of
Roast
barbecue
food,
or
yeah.
roasting, I think we need a separate fire for that, because the sacred fire or the ceremonial fire, we shouldn't be using that to roast and all of that. We should have a separate fire for roasting and for barbecuing or whatever people wants to do. And another thing, I would advise people, if they're gonna be doing any roasting or barbecue, don't use file paper. Don't put file paper in the fire, because you're actually inhaling the toxic fume from the file paper. So we have to observe also that as a means and a scientific way, understanding what we're doing, so that we don't intoxicate ourselves with the aluminum of the file paper as it burns in the fire. Okay, so that's something to observe. We do back home or back in the Caribbean, we roast. Africa, we roast. We put the stuff in the fire. The fire is not dirty. The fire purify everything, you know. So, and those you can also use like a wooden stick or something to turn if you want to put something in the fire. You don't want it touch on the ashes or whatever. So it's something that we have to consider, maybe a grill or something when we want to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
you're
a
saying
separate
that's a
fire.
that's
So
a
the
separate
ceremonial
space.
fire and the lunch fire should be two different
Two
fire.
separate things.
Yeah. So something to
Okay.
observe. We're learning, but it's very important to understand, because
Okay.
we're doing something we're doing a ceremony, and that ceremony is to keep everything in a sacred order. The food and everything, if we want to do that, separate fire, separate grill, fine.
Okay, listeners, I'm hoping that you've taken that on board. It's something that obviously I will note. Yeah, so the sacred fire is a fire. It's food for thought, not food for cooking.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
so
like that.
it's
Yes.
it's about opening up our inner eye, our
Yeah.
inner self, to the elements, and how we best are we more effective working with nature, uncontaminated.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there again, and again, it's the same thing that we say with the drumming. The drumming itself is an educational program.
Yes.
After you had left, we spent some time where we were exploring as to how we're gonna structure ourselves
Okay.
and looking at the skill set that is within the family, and we want for it to be to a certain well, I'm saying we. I'm just
Right.
probably speaking for myself at the
Okay,
moment.
okay.
But my thinking is that we need to establish some form of a membership, some sense of belonging.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
within ourselves.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Mhm.
And again, that goes around the same concept around the T-shirts.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
can build a legacy around what we're doing.
Yeah,
I
and to be
understand.
able to regenerate
Exactly.
ourselves. So again, one of the
Exactly.
things that I know you had been pursuing is like great investment or good investment.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we need
yes.
to come up with one of
Yeah.
those that we can regenerate amongst ourselves and spread it and harness the resource. You know
And
what I'm
and I felt right now of giving a shout out to anybody from Birmingham listening. Give us an invite, the 1,000 Drum coming to Birmingham, because as they're trying to say, Birmingham is full of COVID, so we can drum the COVID out to Birmingham.
Yeah,
So if
well-
anybody wants us to come up there, just organize it. We got the van,
Well-
we can just take off and we just go around the country and just lick drum.
Well,
To
I
resonate the energy.
I can say to you, even last night, our good brother Colin was saying that they want us in Birmingham.
Oh, you see that? I'm picking that up, man. That's deep. That's deep because
that's what
I
I'm
felt to
telling
say
you,
that.
in your
You
absence.
see that?
Yeah, the demand is
Well,
is
let's
as-
link it.
is
Let's
as
link
such,
it.
You know,
Let's
but
link
yeah,
it because we in our God-given right to drum, to gather as a people. There's nobody can curtail us to gather as a people because of some fake virus or fake control mechanism that they're trying to pull over, wool over our head with, because doctors upon doctors and different people in the know is talking out against this whole pandemic, scandemic that's been going on. And I'm into herb and I understand this is nothing but something like a common cold in that sense. And the fact that they have not even talked about a lot of the people who are recovering from the issues surrounding COVID-19 says a lot. Because if this is a medical storm we're going through, medical storm forced down upon us by some control, what they call elite.
our freaks.
Freaks, yeah, freaks, yeah, and they, because they're working around the internet, so they're freaks. So they want to control us and to bring us into what they call it electronic human being, where they attach us with machine. We understand what's going on because we in the know has been studying this for a long time. Actually, there's a rapper who actually sung about the pandemic in 2013. They asked the rapper, well, how did you know to sing about a pandemic when actually some of the people in the medical didn't know about it? He said, well, he read it in the conspiracy theory information. So the information been out there. Not only that, we understand that actually the test kit have been passed out to different sectors of the world 2 years before the so-called pandemic, but they bring it in as if it was a surprise, like they didn't know what's going on. But one thing that is bad about that is when you have an ailment and they tell you no only one cure. There's no such thing. There's no one cure for cancer. Actually, there's so much different ways you can treat cancer. You can treat lupus. You could treat all the different ailments with some different types of different energies or different food system. There's no one size fit all in terms of cure. And so for them to be working on a vaccination that normally takes 5 to 10 years to develop, and they're going to tell us there's only one thing, when people like Madagascar, people from Vietnam has comes up with different remedies that actually work. Even people from Nigeria or people right here in this country is use some things like even lemon and water, and they want to lock us down in a scam. And so we lick out against that because we know what. We're dealing with a tyrannic system that wants to put a wool over our head and choke hold on us, and we can't have that.
Yeah,
so we
we're
stand up against that because it's wrong. It's
Yeah,
not right.
most definitely, and that's again the
If
reason
it was
why
right,
we're
we'd embrace it.
we'd embrace it, and we're having to obviously, to a certain extent, put ourselves at risk. Risk probably isn't the word, but we have to take a stand by challenging the establishment by attending the likes of Trafalgar Square.
Yes.
Yeah, where we were, I think it's probably about 3 weeks back now, when we was there the week before.
Yes, yes.
Just
That's the
to-
19, with 19 and the 26.
19th,
We were
and
there
then-
with the drumming. Yes.
Yeah, with the drumming.
Yes.
And then we actually protest. Well, we went on a march
Yes.
because we were asked to join the march.
Yes.
And I've never been in favor of march. I said I'd done marching, but for whatever reason, when we saw how we at the audience, because after David Icke had said what he had was to say, you know, I filmed where the police were actually moving in from behind on the side, because I was down there early. So
Yes,
I
yes.
was up that end, so
Yeah.
I was monitoring, observing,
What was going
and
on? Yes.
and then I chose my moment, because if I had gone, I believe if I had gone on that column at that earlier stage,
Yeah.
if my chum, they could have just removed me.
Okay. See.
So I made sure that there was a significant number of people there before I then went.
Okay. See.
Yeah. And when I did go up there, because again the week before, as we were saying, we went and they say, yeah, they can't rush us here because they need to climb up and all those, you know, so strategically.
We're in a strategic. We're on the
listen.
we're protected by the lions.
By the lions, you know what I'm saying? So who you had befriended the week before.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we when David Icke had finished, you know, and I've obviously, because we were standing together, I said, yeah, my time, our time now for the drums.
Yes.
Yeah, and then turn our back, and then we started playing, and then it's like the people, they just sat down.
Yes.
Yeah, they just sat down there up until obviously they were encouraged to move away by them saying that they'd allow us to go to Hyde Park.
Yeah, what happened, the German doctor came up to speak, and the German doctor, who's been involved with a lot of doctors licking out against the whole pandemic and the vaccination and the whole scam that they want to broad brush the world with. And actually, so he was about to speak and they shut him down because they know too much of information, but they can't stop it. They only could slow it down, but they can't stop it. And the doctor called, the doctor is part of this book called Corona False Alarm, Facts and Figures. And so this book is out. It's I think it's in different language, but Corona False Alarm, Facts and Figures by Dr. Karina Rees and Dr. Shachari Bakdi. And so that book is out. So he was talking about the conference that they had in Germany and what was going on in terms of the impact that they had. And so they shut him down and they stop him from speak. And actually they hold him for a few hours at the station. They have to let him go.
Okay.
But they only slow things down. They can't stop what's going on.
Okay.
Because you talk about going back. Because when you talk about going back, I was thinking, I asked you how far back. Because let's talk about time now. This is where the astrology of time comes in. Because we're in a cycle, and people, it's very important to understand this if you're not aware of what's going on. We're at the top of the hour of cycles within cycles.
So we're at 12 o'clock?
Yeah, the biggest cycle we have in time in ancient system we call is the 26,000 year cycle. Yes? And so that's called the great year cycle. Yes? So we're at the top of the hour of the great year cycle. So we've come to a completion of one of the longest cycle, which is considered the great year, 12 ages. So we're at the top of that cycle. And what happens in the Mayan's astrology system we are studying, the Mayan have a coded information because the Mayan astrology system has cut the cycle of 26,000 year cycle into 5 cycles of 5,125 years. So they have a document that goes from 3113 or 1331, I think it's 3113 BC, yeah, 3113 BC right to 2012, yeah. So that's 5,125 years, and that cycle is considered all 13 Baktun. So when we talk about the end of the cycle of the Mayan, what they're talking about is the end of that long cycle of 5,125 years, and that cycle brings the fifth of the 26,000 year cycle. Because I'm saying the 26,000 year cycle is divided into 5 cycles. So the Mayan has documented the last cycle, which is 5,125 years. And so we're at the top of the hour. And what is happening now, we move into a new cycle altogether, a new 5,000, a new 26,000 year cycle. But the first fifth of that is a 5,125 year cycle. Yes? Okay. Which is like, and that cycle brings us to what is called the Baktun of the star planting, the black tone of the star planting. That means we're in a time now where we would have access to the rest of the universe, to the stellar world. We'll be able to do interdimensional travel and meet with our space brothers and sisters and things of that nature. It may sound far-fetched, not far-fetched. And so this is where we are.
Is that physical travel?
interdimension.
Or is it
Yes, we'll
mental,
be able to do
spiritual?
that. Why? Because just like you see in the movie of Tinkerbell, there's an energy source that's gonna come to raise our vibration. It's almost like what the Aquarius age. The Aquarius, when you see this symbol for Aquarius with the man with the picture of water, people think that is water, but it's not water, it's etheric energy. And once that energy is poor, as we enter the age, as we're coming closer and closer to the, actually we're at the junction of the age, that etheric energy is going to raise our vibration, so we become etheric beings in that sense, interconnected, intergalaxy, interdimension. And that's what's going on the planet. And what they're trying to do, just like newborn baby of a newborn age, they want to vaccinate us. Because that's what newborn baby, they vaccinate them to kind of shut them down from their spiritual powers and vibration by giving them all kind of, things that's not good for the body. So they want to vaccinate the whole world to shut us down and to bring us under their new world order or new world disorder control mechanism.
Control. Okay, which is like akin to, is it the Borg? When you watch like Star Trek, where it's machinery.
Yeah, they want to
and
make a cyborg. Cyborg, where we'll be linked up to some government machine and government control. That's worse than slavery, what they're trying to do. So democracy itself is on its deathbed right now, giving up the ghost on the chokehold by Boris Johnson and all these people in government who are trying to bring the chokehold to us in terms of democracy and freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is in the chokehold, and we got to release the chokehold from freedom of speech. People, you need to take off your mask and speak up.
Yeah, well, I try not to tell them that, to be honest, because it's a case, well, if they arrest too many people, where they're going to put them. Yeah, so it's how we take a stand collectively.
Yes, yes.
And how we're going to unite collectively insofar as opposing. I think one of the good thing I would say from the last outing at Trafalgar Square is that establishing that link, which I know you have also with Seven.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it is the case that when these things are in the planning, we will know, so we can commit ourselves with the drums. Yeah. And also we need to have that understanding, because I know my brother won't necessarily agree that we put ourselves amongst what might be perceived as the heathen.
Okay.
But it is a one world. This new world order is something that we all have to oppose. Yes. And seem to be in unity or in union with others who are also
like-minded. Well, let's talk about the wisdom of this, because our elders and our ancestors always talk about, people, we grew up in different parts of the Caribbean and different parts of the UK or the United States, and this one word that or sentence that we normally say, pick sense out of nonsense. Let's do that for what is happening. They want to bring in what is called a medical passport. Yeah, we know that's what they're trying to push. But why do we need a medical passport when actually they're downgrading our health? They're downgrading our health to fast food, to genetic food, and then require medical passport. So that shows you that's buffoonery, because what they need to do is upgrade our health by give us the natural information in terms of nutrition, encourage natural ways of living and eating. You don't need a passport then, because people has raised their level of intake in terms of natural food, in terms of health condition. You wouldn't need a passport. You can't downgrade the people health condition through using all kind of synthetic genetic and then tell you require a passport. It's nonsense. Yeah, well, so therefore they're putting us in a bad state and then requires a passport from us. That doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense, because it's almost like somebody's going to give you drugs and say, let me test you for drugs, and then want to lock you up. That don't make sense. Well, so it just go ahead.
I'm saying it makes sense because of their agenda. When the average individual, if they use enough fear, because not everybody is enlightened.
Well, that's why I'm saying this, because I'm talking for people may think, well, maybe there's some truth to what the government may be saying. But what I'm saying, look at it from a truth standpoint. If they upgrade our health condition in terms of knowledge, in terms of allowing doctors to speak freely, allowing nutrition, allowing herbalists, don't stamp out the voice of dissent. but realize this is important what we're saying. Upgrade humanity, build the people, as Peter Tosh says. You know, they're breaking us down and it requires a passport. You wouldn't need a passport if we're built up. You see, but this is how they operate. They bring us the fast food and all the synthetic, and
Break
then
us
now
down.
they want to require a passport from us. That doesn't make sense. That just shows you that they're on the wrong path.
Yeah, well,
And that's what I want people to take away from this,
here.
is to understand somebody can downgrade us and it requires a high standard. It's almost like you downgrade the education and require a high standard from them, or you downgrade the health and requires I think I'm over emphasizing this, but it's very important.
No, it is
You can't
important,
downgrade the people and then require high standard from them. It doesn't make no sense.
No, it makes no sense. And the key thing is that we try and grasp the full understanding of what you've just said.
Yeah.
As to its relevance in what is happening out there, because we've put ourselves in rehab and we're trusting of them to, for whatever reason, find the solution in order to take us out.
Yeah.
But everything is going to be conditional, that we're going to need a passport to work, because again, without the injection,
Yeah.
it's like the assumption is that we're likely to contaminate each other. Hence the reason, obviously, they've now brought out, or they're intending on putting this app where we're going to be further dividing ourselves,
Yes.
you know, less trusting,
Yes.
you know. So yeah, it's all problematic, but again, that is the reason why it was so important
Yeah.
for you to be here. You know what I'm saying? To be able to-
Problematic and programmatic, because when you look at it, why are they doing this? They want everybody's genetic material, because once they get your genetic material, they would hook us up with 5G, so they don't need the cop on the street. They can just tap into your genes, and if they need to lock off a switch and shut you down, and you have to stay there like a statue until somebody pick you up off the street. Because once they got your genetic material, they could computerize us, and then therefore using the 5G to lock you down, or just like how you use electronic taser gun, that 5G becomes a taser gun. They could taser you anywhere on the planet because they got your material. And these are the things that they're trying to bring in, and this is why they do that. So we're dealing with a tyrannical government. Make Hitler looks like child's play. And this is what people need to realize here, and this is why we stand up and says, hell no.
No, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Power set to
Yes.
us. Yeah, no more of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that in a sense delves a bit into the future, you know. So I think on average we've probably covered most of what the listeners would be concerned about, but I think if we can be more specific, yeah, with ourselves, because to a certain extent I'm saying, you know, it would appear that it's our opportunities, our time now as a race,
Yes.
you know, to really take a stand, open up our eyes and give that new direction, because for the past 400 years plus, maybe that's why to a certain extent we've been afflicted, yeah, or been in bondage under their influence, so that we've moved away from the natural into the superficial, the genetics, but now we're reverting back to the organic. We're reconnecting, where we're now taking off our shoes,
Yes.
connecting with the earth,
And
looking now to our inner selves, because they don't have that knowledge or power or nature, you know. So where does that leave us now as a race, as a culture? What is the responsibility that is being bestowed upon us? Because okay, we can say we know that they are a European probably person who have that inside knowledge, but it's not necessarily in his interest to do so, because when in reality the truth is that humanity, the environment, everything is suffering, you know. But again, we do know that as a race we're very much embracing, because as we start, love is the solution to all things. So whether they're brothers or cousins, we've got to reach out. But at the same time, I do still want to take it from a more Pan-African perspective, because the bread basin is still Africa, the source of our progress insofar as minerals, all of those resources, again, is Africa. So what is it we're going to do, or what is it that we need to do? Because, I mean, I listen on YouTube, you got all these professors, you know, that's saying this, saying that, but it's like we're still not awake to the situation. So where is it that we need to move, yeah, in our consciousness? And again, I'm mindful of the fact, I'm thinking that what we're doing is probably quite unique, yeah, with the drumming, with the labyrinth, you know, but it seems that we need to still bring that unity together. So I don't know, but I know that obviously our brother Dougie joining the ancestors having brought us together, I'm probably having a little better understanding as to why it is that our paths are at this togetherness stage. You know, I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
Give
Let
an
me touch on
overview.
that. When we look at Africa, when we look at the kingdoms of Africa, one of the things that sustain us is understanding the esoteric science. Ancient Egypt, esoteric science. Ancient Ethiopia, esoteric science. All these kingdoms, Mali and all of these different kingdoms in Africa, esoteric science was at the forefront of everything they do. You know, because the ancient says that the kings are the last of the gods and the first of the man. So what they're saying, when a kingdom is set up on earth, yeah, those kings are aligned with the gods or the energies of the higher dimension, and they're the last of the gods and the first of the man. So when a king is installed in Africa, it's because just like when you read in The Lion King or you watch the Lion King movie, the signs of the heavens also initiate or let us know that there was a time for a reign of a king, and they're born with that energy. Africa understand the connection with that. The only body that actually doing that now in connection, or could say one or people that are doing that, we see that with Tibet, with the Dalai Lama, because the Dalai Lama is being reborn as and being come to a certain lineage that they know this is the person that comes to rule, and they would test the Dalai Lama by certain things that are there from the past Dalai Lama that he have to recognize. They put it through certain things and says, yes, he's the Dalai Lama because you remember his cup that he had, you remember this, he can show you that, so he is definitely the person that is adorned to come. Well, Africa had this type of science where a king, when he's born, the elders know that this king is born to rule a certain province or territory or whatever, and that's divine.
Okay.
You see, so the kings are the last of the gods, but the first of the man. First of the man, that means they're top of the food chain in terms of the kingdom of man. And when I say king, I'm talking about king and queen. Yeah, so they're the last of the gods. That's what the ancient says in Tehuti's writing. You can read that they're the last of the gods, because come down as the last of the gods, but the first of man. But we lost that. Yes, there's lots of kingdoms still survive in Africa where there's kings that are enthroned and installed because of certain principles go back in ancient time. But what is happening, it's been masterminded by the political systems of the West that we have aligned ourselves with, which is also based on secret esoteric science that they've grasped from us, masonry and all of these things that they've grasped and utilized and used that in the political system to undermine and do all of these things to really, you know, topple or override the kingdoms that still exist in Africa and also in the Caribbean.
Well, again, obviously, I mean, we saw that the other day because they made a Chinese individual a prince. And it makes no sense whatsoever, but I mean, the impact will not be realized for 10, maybe 20 years when they then set about to say, well, through whatever lineage,
yeah,
you know.
that is an insult. It's an insult to us. Because first of all, there is a bloodline that goes on with the kingdoms and things like that, because ancestors come back to certain line. So you may have an area in Africa, and for instance Ghana, and you have many kings in different provinces there, but you have an overall king, and this is all based on bloodlines. Because I've done some research in Zimbabwe, and what they call the leader, they call the Mohandora. Yes, and the Mohandora would be like a leader or a king that has passed. Yes, But the Muhandora would also contact the community through a swag hero, which is actually as a medium. Yeah, so the Muhandoro would, because they know all of they lived before, and they would talk to how the village have to be run. And so that has been still going on in Zimbabwe today. So when you go to an area or province, you have to find out who's the Mohandora, who's connected with the chieftain in that thing, who have connection with the Mohandora, and then they would also deal with welcome you to the area or the land or whatever. So all of these things have been undermined by the European system of governance or manipulation that they have been doing. You see, but still behind the scene of that is still that kingly, queenly system going on, and still to this day in Zimbabwe. And this is when I read about the stuff in Zimbabwe, that's how what they were able to topple the European, because when they went to war with the European, the army decided to study their spiritual document in order to try to defeat them, but it was too late. Because the information was there, but they started to study to see how they can override what was going on. But a lot of them people were connected with the ancestors and knew what to do, when to move, and things like that. And a lot of the spirit mediums were also working with the army. And because of that, a lot of the army, the soldiers were protected. A lot of animals, they don't talk about this. A lot of animals were working with the army through the spirit mediums. You understand? So the whole of nature was also at war with against the what they call it, what's his name, the government, Cicero's government.
Okay.
Yeah, not only the army, but the animals and nature itself was against them, so they couldn't win. And so they sing a song, Maza Ini, and that tells you lose. They were telling them they lose, because when they went to war, they also went with the choir. And so the choir was encouraging the army. That's why people just like, when they see Africans they always have that the choir, because that lifts their spirit and the certain songs and things like that. So that's what we're doing. When we're doing the drum and we're doing the war dance and we're learning the war dance and we're setting out that vibration, that is activating all the plants, all the stones, all the animals. So when the real war comes down, now, it's nature.
It's nature. Yeah.
You understand?
And without a doubt, we can see what society has done with the environment, where everywhere in the world right now, plastic is a plague. Yes. And the animals throughout the world. I mean, even Attenborough, and William, as far as I understand it now, there's this new resurgence, insofar as looking at the environmental problems that has been prevalent in the world, throughout the world, But I think it's a bit late on their part. I think it's
very late
for us to open up our eyes and to put the responsibility of blame in their hands, because they're still in denial.
There's something happened in Zimbabwe where a man went to Zimbabwe and the elephant attacked him and killed him. And when they did the research, they realized that his family had did something to the elephant, and the elephant recognized him to the family line.
Wow.
And killed him. And so when we talk about that, when we look at the medical establishment and what they have been doing to the animals, injecting them with all kind of virus and things to study, that's not the way our ancestors do that. Our ancestors didn't have to do animal testing to all of these animal, really criminality testing that they're doing to animal in order to come up with some kind of synthetic drugs. Our ancestors never do that. What our elders were doing, they were speaking to ancestral force that actually passed knowledge from the spirit world to the physical world as what we need to do. And so this is the right way to healing, because the plants can talk to us. The plants will communicate the knowledge to us, because by ingesting the plant is the teacher. That's the real university is out there in nature. Yeah? And so when they ask the native in South America, how they know about ayahuasca and how they know to mix this plant with that plant to create the ayahuasca brew. They said the plants teach us. The plants tells us what to do. And they thought it's crazy. But the scientists, them now realizing that yes, the nature is communicating with us what to do with it, because the nature itself is a communication mechanism.
Yeah, because obviously you're a part of.
Yes.
you're part of it by being in that environment.
Yeah.
So you have a natural understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
And because every time I partake of an herb, right now I have a bottle here with some water. You gave me a bottle of water, and I had some seeds of the, what they call it, the elderberry. I had it in the bag
Right.
because that's a knapsack I walk with, and I had the elderberry. And I poured the elderberry seed in the water, and you change water, and it's like there's no sugar in there, and it tastes like I've put some sugar in
Sugar in
there.
it.
This is just elderberry seed, maybe about 20 seed in a bottle of water. You know what I mean? And that is giving me a lot of vitamins, vitamin C, and it's also helping my eyes, the black seeds, like the black of my eyes, and things like that. It's doing so much to me. Just drinking that, I'm on a vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So nature is actually the real university. We're in the universe, which is also part of the university, and we can pick up knowledge through ingesting plants, minerals, and things of that nature.
Wow. Right. Boy, I don't even know. Well, family, listen, let's take a little break because I'm realizing the time now is we've only got 15 minutes. So even if you was phoning to ask any questions, you know, with my brother, it's going to take just as long to give you the answers, you know. But for those of you who are out there listening, you know, thank you for your attention. I hope obviously that you have been further educated like myself. You know, we don't predetermine even the questions, they're not set, you know, so we're going on a spiritual vibration, and I'm hoping obviously that you've picked up on what's being said, and then you'll be able to put it into practice, because everything right now is about learning. But more importantly, you know, we need an awakening amongst ourselves as a race, as well as the general public out there, Europeans who are in denial of the facts. Yeah, so we have got to make our nature lead as a precedent as to how we're going to take ourselves out of this situation, pandemic, from out of rehab and back into life. Obviously some of us have not subjected ourselves to be in rehab at this time. You know, we're at liberties, connecting still with our true nature, you know, so we continue in the woods, you know, and in so doing, you know, we get the vibes and the inspiration in order to do what it is that we do, you know. So this is for you.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright.
Yes, family, don't worry about a thing. You know, everything's gonna be alright, but it's only gonna be alright if you're open to opening up your inner eyes. You know, smell the coffee, make sense of what my good brother has been saying, and to do what is right, which is to blow the whistle on these liars to a certain extent, these deceivers, you know, who is putting our very lives at risk, our young people's lives at risk, and their motivation still maintains to be greed, money. You know, it's really strange. The person who is doing this at this present, he's got so much money that the money becomes a fallacy. It's nothing to him. So he now wants that power. You know, so he's effectively now looking to play God. You know, and to take us down with him. You know, so the devil is a liar. He's a deceiver. You know, but I think even today I was watching a program, and you know, in our African folklore, Asian history, spirituality, you know, there was no evil or there's no devil. You know, there's certain things that never exist. So, you know, it's like Western societies in what do you say, invested this image, and they've impacted on us. You know, and we really need to open our eyes, reconnect with our spirituality, back with our nature, and take responsibility, and to know that it's not the material things, it's the nature, it's a natural thing, and you know, we've got a common love, a common bond, you know, which is amongst people. So we are our brother's keeper to a certain extent, and you know, they always say the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof. You know, I mean, you've just given an example with the elderberry as to how it energizes your body, your mind, your spirit, and all of those things. You know, I have to say, obviously, as you know, I've not been on one of those herbal walks, but I know, again, these are the things you do. You've educated me to let me know outside my very house there's a tree.
Yes,
a
right
tree
there. You don't gotta go nowhere. Yeah, it's right there.
You know what I'm saying?
Powerful
So,
tree as well.
And I have not really embarked on going out picking it to boil it to drink it.
Oh no, you should don't pick it, because actually I'm organizing a walk for the 24th, an herbal ginkgo picking for the 24th
24th
of this month, October. I
But
think
that
we're gonna
sounds
do
like
the
a
20th.
Saturday.
It's a Saturday, yes.
But that's gonna conflict.
No, it's not conflict, because we're going in the night. So if we pick it in the day.
No, but I'm saying we're in the woods on the 24th.
Yeah, but the 24th we're in the woods in the night. This is a day picking.
Yeah, so how am I gonna stretch
You pick
myself?
you pick and then you take it to the woods, and then you could put it in the frying pan and fry some of it and eat.
Fry and eat.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Because what happened, that walk normally takes place at November 1st. But because of everything, I figure we do one on the 24th, and then we can do one in November as well. I think the 2nd is a Saturday or something like that. Because I normally do November 1st in terms of the ginkgo picking. But because they actually are ready, so by the 24th they'll be ready. We can do one picking there, and then we could do a second picking for those who can make the 24th.
Okay.
So those who are interested in coming on that ginkgo walk, ginkgo picking, I've been doing that for lots of years since I was living in America. And I've been in this country over 17 years, so that's a long time. I've been taking ginkgo over 20 years.
Alright, well I tell you what me I go do. I'm gonna walk outside my front door, go pick off a tree.
Yeah, you only got leaf there. Is yours have seed? Because yours wouldn't have seed. Because you, in order for you to seed, I must tell you this, the ginkgo tree takes 30 years before it can produce seed. So anytime you eat a seed, you know that those are more than 30 years old.
Okay.
So your ginkgo tree might be a year or 2 years or 3 years old.
3 years.
He's gonna have to wait 30 years before that can seed. So you might as well come on the walk.
So
but you can pick the leaf, and you can make tea with the leaf. Just dry them and make tea with the leaf, because it's very good for the brain, very good for your circulation, very good for your memory.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna obviously take up on that.
And your melanin. Because one of the things, people who suffer from vitiligo, which is the loss of the skin pigmentation, it's actually been a study done in India, says that actually the ginkgo leaf or the ginkgo, the energy in there is good for the vitiligo.
Okay.
And this is a tree now that can last 6,000 years. You
Okay,
understand?
well, I'm gonna make it a promise now,
Yeah.
or a practice, to obviously pick the leaves, dry them, you say,
Yes.
and then
And yeah.
and then boil them for
Then you
my
go boil
own.
them to make tea, man.
Yeah,
Then yeah.
yeah. But yeah, for the 24th, it's gonna be too much of a big occasion. I think my
Okay.
brother is gonna need some assistance because it's his earth strong.
So what time we starting on the 24th? Because I need to know that.
Well,
Roughly.
we're intent
Roughly.
starting at 7.
Oh yeah, 24th, man. We done pick by
Yeah,
by
it's
12,
just-
1 o'clock. We done pick, man.
Yeah, but some of us travel far. I mean, one of the good thing, and I'm going to encouraging this of you, those of you who are anxious to align yourselves with 1,000 drums. Yeah, we've had 3. I think we've got 3 minibuses.
Okay.
But because of the popularity of the drumming and using yesterday as an example, Halsden again as an example, you know, driving, if you've got the means to get there, it's not a problem, but parking may well be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to be in touch with Ras Chubby, Marcos, I think it was
Anti-Gene,
Anti-Gene.
Yes.
Yeah. In order to secure, yeah, not for this week, but for next week.
24th.
The 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm saying to you, it's going to be phenomenal, and obviously, we're going to make sure that there's provisions for like marquee and those kind
Okay.
of things, so that we're under the cover.
I'll be making some drink. I say I'm gonna make some drink for that day. But
Yeah.
Clive, the way you all going, it look like Boris gonna invite you all to come play down in
No,
down in the House of Parliament.
No. Oh, Boris, I got here with. We are gonna shake him up. You know what I'm saying?
Boris gonna want you
Because-
all to come play, man, to get rid of some of that COVID that they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you know, the 1,000 drum is a healing.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I know, as even if Boris is down in his basement and we're at Parliament Square there amongst the lions, you understand? There's no escaping this judgment.
Yes.
There's no, it's
Yes.
particularly like you've elaborated on the vibration.
Vibrational
was-
healing is the drum.
Yeah, that was demonstrated
power
when
of the
all
heart.
those alarms went up outside
Yes.
Brother Dougie that opened my eyes. I'm saying, Russ, imagine that if you have 1,000 drums.
Right.
Yeah, no weak heart can stomach
Yeah. See.
this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we've reverted back to the original sound, which is a heartbeat.
Yes.
You know, which obviously there's an element of
the
love.
heart, yes.
that
Naya
is there.
Bingi now. So you understand the concept of what Naya Bingi drumming is about.
Listen. Again, I had a little moment last night where I was speaking because you see, even before Brother Dougie's passing, I lost a brethren, Jaman, which was on the 11th of September of last year. No, 11th was his birthday. So I think it would have been around the July time. I'd not long to return back from Jamaica. And Ras Chubby, they actually played outside his gates
Okay.
because he's not a person to go in a church,
Okay.
you know. So that's where I acquainted myself with the Naya Bingi and the drumming.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
when my cousin then passed at the beginning of the COVID thing, which he
Oh,
died.
yeah, that's my
yeah,
good friend, man.
yeah,
Cecil,
Cecil,
yeah.
Cecil.
That was, I remember when I called you, you told me.
Yeah,
it was-
Cecil
yeah.
died on the 20th
Yeah.
of the 3rd, 20. And then we were looking at the significance of those dates. 20, 10, 20. Same like yesterday was
Okay.
10, 10,
10,
20.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Seen,
So
seen.
these are all signs that
Yeah.
I'm fascinated with. And then Julio died on like my birthday. Lady Leo died on the birthday of Jaman. Yeah.
Okay.
And then now this 24th is going to be on Mawali's, and you know, so it's
Okay.
beginning and end, beginning and end.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
let's
so
touch a little bit on Lady Leo, because we know we have that the funeral service coming up. We can
Yeah.
put that out for people who may not know the date.
yeah, but again, the concern that I hold there is insofar as the numbers as to how we put it out. Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm assuming that those who are in the know or who should know by now.
Oh, okay.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I
Okay,
don't
I
really
got
want
you.
to be causing
Respect that. Yeah. Understand.
too much of
Okay.
yeah. But I'm taking it because they've done their Zoom, they've done their special programs.
Okay.
Yeah, and like for myself, I'm not one to be held responsible for it. I just,
Okay.
as you've done rightly, we
Mm.
mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, so those of us, we will be, and again, it's on Zoom, so
Yeah.
I suppose we
So
could
those
really
who want,
talk.
yeah.
Yeah, those of you who are able to, they can Zoom in and social distance, obviously, within their own house, and yeah, just pay their respect, and we can honor her that way, you
Okay.
know. But insofar as the church cemetery is concerned, that is very much a family private affair because we're limited because of the numbers.
But that's limited as well.
Yeah, there's restrictions.
Even
Yeah.
the cemetery, you're restricted. Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brother Dougie's, we were on the other side of the fence with the drums because that particular gate
Yeah.
was closed.
And she was part of the Thousand Drums.
And she
as
was
well.
part of the
was part
Thousand
yes.
Drums. I mean,
I've
she
got
came
a-
with the
yeah.
kids, the children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I've got a
saying?
video with her with the drum moving around. You know, actually, you look at the video, she there hugging everybody, and it's like, wow. Some people get their last hug on that day. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, again,
Yeah.
you know, I'm pinching myself.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm pinching myself from Brother
Yeah.
Dougie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because again, we weren't able to pay any respect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he went quietly. Had it not been for those alarms going off,
Mm-hmm.
and again, when we did his Earth Strong
Mm-hmm.
in the park, it's like I took that to a certain extent somewhat personal because it was
Mm.
at my birthday.
Okay. See,
You know,
see.
we was talking about so many different
Things, yeah.
things.
Mhm.
You know, so I'm conscious of the fact that yeah, I know we have works to do, but that work's got to be done through the Thousand Drums.
Drums, yes.
You know, again with Lady Leo, we await to see what happens with Chazan, the brother Andy, as to what the family wish to do. Yeah, but again, the common denominators are going to be the Thousand Drums.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
there are those who are out there that they're thinking other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we've got to see the bigger picture.
Yes.
You know, which a lot of them are not
That's
seeing.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
And just to let people know that the Thousand Drum, they can just Google a Thousand Drum on YouTube, yeah, and find the some of the drumming that we're doing, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a Akombozi, I believe, yeah, well, let me try and see if I can find the leaflet, and I can give you the full information on that. I should always have one of these leaflets, but if I haven't...
Yeah, and I must say that the Thousand Drum, the Thousand Drummers, take no responsibility for the burst pipe that happens in
Oh, yeah.
Hackney Wick, even though we were drumming in the area prior to the pipe, the burst pipe. We take no responsibility for that, but things are just happening
Yeah,
mystically and
vibration.
magically. But we were drumming. That was what they call it, a spontaneous drum session we did up to 2 o'clock in the morning. We were in the woods in that same area drumming, and you know, so I guess the vibration was too the pipe couldn't take it, maybe, I don't know, but we take no responsibility for that. But
Yeah.
what's supposed to happen is gonna happen whatever way it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and again, it's really strange and significant. You know, the vibration and the power that resonate from it. You know, and again, I was sharing with my brother earlier that each time that we do go in the woods and we come out, we have expectations. You know, that the ancestors would have heard our call, heard our plea. You know, and then obviously having done so, then we await the response, which no doubt is going to be coming. You know. Right. Yeah. So yeah. Insofar as the Thousand Drum is concerned, yeah, we've got the okombozi.org. You can subscribe to the Okombozi at PASCF on the YouTube channels for update. And the reason why we encourage you is that you can learn the unity beat, which is like you said, the common denominator between the ordinarily drumming and the Naya Bingi, yeah. And it's been really an exceptional and really encouraging, uplifting vibration that we have been experiencing amongst ourselves and the family, and it really again exciting to acquaint ourselves with our brother Colin from the reggae exhibition. Again, last night we had Duke Basie turn up when we're supposed to have lockdown, and then we carry on for a
Wow. Wow.
good while afterwards. Me I tell you, man, it's such a nice vibration that people, I'm telling you, really don't realize what it is that one is missing. Yeah, but yeah, from my standpoint, obviously, I continue to promote and to push real active structure supported solutions with Enough is Enough. We've established the first outlet, which again, my brother is what's her name? The shop that you had refurbished, Amelia World Fashion and Style.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're
That's Edmonton Green, yeah?
yeah, Edmonton Green Shopping Centre, Unit 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get your T-shirts there. We've also got some badges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got some badges which is dedicated to the young man Julio, and what we intend to do with the proceeds from that is to erect a park bench in Jubilee Park by the stadium, which we've been utilising, and the council officers offered to be able to plant a tree.
Okay.
So maybe we'll plant a tree from what you would describe as something medicinal,
Okay.
something which is going to
Yeah.
have some healing powers.
Okay.
So that's one of the things obviously
In
I'll be able to
connection.
take back to the family as a suggestion.
Okay.
Alternative would be a fruit tree,
Yes, yes.
but it's more important to have, I think, medicinal, herbal,
Okay.
yeah, something
Okay.
that can heal the mind, the body, and
Mm-hmm.
as you've described,
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to those things, obviously, there's so much which is ongoing, happening within our community, yeah, and I don't know, I brought my phone this week, and it goes to show the the reliability that is placed upon this thing, because the phone is magic, to be honest with you, but it needs to be used as a tool, but unfortunately they use it as a tracking device
Mm-hmm.
as well, and that's where our concerns are. So we're actually asking for you to what do you say, downgrade, yeah, particularly those who are in responsible positions within your own grouping, organization, structures, that you downgrade so that they can't use this as a tool against yourself, because they've got us down to the number 6,
Mhm.
which one of the shows that we were touching on last time here was 666,
Okay. See.
or the social distance, and
Mhm.
it's so this is so blatantly obvious,
Mhm.
that the devil's at work, in
Yeah.
all this again, insofar as this pandemic and everything, So yeah, family out there, those of you who have lost loved ones, those who have had birthdays, both within the family, life as well as death has happened. And no, it's the same for a lot of other families who constantly are forever losing our loved one. Let me encourage your family to be strengthened. As Bob Marley said, don't worry, because everything is in God's hands. It's not how long we live, it's what we do in our time. So let us step up to the mark and do what it is that we have to do. Yeah? Don't be overfazed by the politicians, because they're void of common sense. They seem to lack knowledge. They turn to scientists,
Mhm.
yeah, for their findings, and their scientists, they're always experimenting, yeah, and it would appear that we are the latest, yeah, on their agenda, because historically they've always said we're the next best thing to monkeys or animals. But even the animals are now crying out. As my brother say, an elephant killed one of his keepers because obviously he recognized and remember the oppressions from in the past. So I am mindful of that. Even like my own garden, I tell him I have to move these animals out, because them I take set is like they're reading my nature.
What kind of animals you have there?
Oh man, I've got squirrel, cat, and none of them no belong to the house. You understand? But it's
Okay.
like they're all moving in.
Okay.
And then I've got the birds. The birds, and I was observing the birds this week because the cat is there and the bird is there. I mean, I watch the cat, but to be honest, I just wanted to see. So I make sure the cat know that I see him in
Okay.
relation to the bird.
Right, okay.
Because any of him trouble the bird, I'm going to trouble him.
Yeah. Okay.
You understand? So I've got this strange relationship happening within my garden. That's aside from the fishes,
Yeah.
obviously, which
Okay,
I've got.
okay, see,
And I've got
see.
the running waters, I've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the chimes,
Right. See.
so it's a place for me to relax, and I just have to keep an eye on the people on the other side of the fence because they just come down just want to relax as well.
I tell you.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, nature shows me love and only love, is
exactly.
a way forward, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, family, listen, 10 o'clock done gone, and obviously we need to get home to our loved ones, So my brother, I have to thank you for the time,
Yes.
your dedication, the things that you're doing.
Respect that. Yes.
No, without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? And, obviously, it's like finding it the time to do so much things. You know what I'm saying? But I can see and I acknowledge the fact that, you are here to serve a purpose, which is to open up our eyes further and to be able to simplify it as
Yes.
best
Exactly.
as possible.
Exactly. That's very important.
Yeah, so that we have we grasp the understanding,
Mm-hmm.
So as you will see, I'm a person that people just fed up of hearing my voice, and it's important that
No.
other people are able to speak instead of
No,
myself. You know what I'm saying? But ever so often you have to say or you have to speak up, but sometimes you lose that kind of discipline because for you to be understood, you need to, even when you speak, it needs to be structured a certain way on the delivery.
Okay.
But yesterday I
Yeah.
spoke yesterday.
See.
I didn't even manage to record it because
Okay.
oftentimes I record what I'm doing
Okay.
because I don't want others to say things that I probably
Don't
did not say.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, yesterday we had an open opportunity where we were self-educating
Okay.
amongst ourselves. So there's
Okay.
something that's come out, and I think that might be replicated each time we're out there.
Okay.
Because
see.
it's not just playing the drum in, it's an
Yes.
educational
It is
thing,
educational.
you know what I'm
yes.
saying? So
And it's resonating the energy with nature and with
yeah.
Yeah.
So
wholly.
again, with the input that you had made, because obviously you did it at that time because you had also to leave us,
Mhm.
but there was a time set aside where we can invite the
Mhm.
likes of yourself,
Mhm.
Omawali, Ras Chubby,
Mhm.
there's our sisters there
Mhm.
that did the libation and others, because we want to be open,
Mhm.
we want to express ourselves,
Mhm.
because in so doing we hear each other's commitment,
Mhm.
to the
Mhm.
cause that we're at presently,
Mhm.
so it's very much appreciated, and long may the journey continue. So I was excited, looking forward
Okay.
to know Glastonbury, but that's not going to happen for this year. But we've done a number of
We do,
venues.
But I've just
events.
realized, because I was talking about the wanga earlier, because I had the wanga mixture and I actually sprayed over the field before I left. Before I left there, I don't know if you
is
see
that
when
that
I
thing
go
when you
around.
was going
I was
around?
going. That was the wanga energy.
Oh, that was the wanga energy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, like me saying, no more
that
time,
area is
me I watch,
energized, man. Yeah.
No, me I watch.
Yeah, me put some- yeah.
me I
I
watch,
just
but through
realised
me
that,
not understand,
yeah.
me not ask a
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
so it's very hard to
Yeah.
ask a question. First, me have to listen what you have to say, and then if
See.
it kind of pricks the ears, and I know, say, well, the listener out there maybe want to ask a question there as well.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm very observant.
See.
And even whilst I'm there, I'm just looking even above up in our stars, because
See.
oftentimes you just see something I run
Yeah,
across up there.
see.
You see what I'm saying? So people
Yeah.
don't realize, you know, they just go there taking the drums,
Yeah.
yeah, and try to take some pictures, but they don't realize that they have to connect with
Yeah.
where they're at.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time when we even went out to meet some people, and I just tell the brother, listen, just hide by the tree. Yeah, hide by the tree. Because I want them to become aware, as they travel.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
light energy that they think is directing their path is bringing some evil towards them.
Seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? Because even as you say with the tree, they might be all in the liquor rest, and you're
Yes.
disturbing them.
Seen.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing I take away when I go into the woods and I reconnect. Yeah, that in so doing, I know by closing my eyes and opening it, I can see. And I'm telling people also, when it is that you come into the woods, be mindful, yeah, and what would you say? Make note of where it is that you're passing, so you can put things that you can identify with when you're then leaving. And usually those things are at the highest, or the tallest things then say. Yeah, so that when you're walking in, as you make your step coming in, when you're leaving at night, you should not buck your toe.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you should not buck your
Sensitizing
toe.
eyes, you with the energy, yeah.
You understand? So the path that you walk on every day, you don't expect to be looking every day where you're going if you're going on the same path.
Yeah, because I was there, this guy's in the wood there, and when I come out, the lady was like, what?
Okay. Oh,
She
so it
was
was you.
surprised. Yeah, I was there, this guy's, and when I come out, she was like, because she wasn't observant to see that I was
Yes.
up, because I stand up like a statue, and then when I move, she was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah,
but it just really programmed her to be next time be
Next
observant,
time to be
because
more
even though
aware.
it's dark, you can tell that's a figure or that's a tree or whatever. It's just sensitized, and you don't got to be scared of the woods. But you know if somebody's there, that is like, okay, you can tell that's somebody there,
Yeah.
and you could call them out early.
Yeah, and the light is a false sense of security,
Seeing.
because
Yes.
rather than protecting you, which the dark affords you, the light is exposing you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You know, and we need to learn from those things, because
Yes.
had we not seen the light, we would not have been able to lay weight you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes.
We would have had to have called on other senses
Mhm.
to be able to have the opportunity.
See,
And once we've got you in that state where we can frighten you, that means you've lost all control
Right,
of
yes.
your defense.
And you see, it's interesting because you go back to Zimbabwe as well, because here is all right. We talk about in this country is all right, but place like
Animals.
Zimbabwe, you got some dangerous
Animals.
snakes and insects in the woods. But how do you go there and be amongst them and don't have to worry? You have to know what plants that you have to either rub your body with or ingest, so you mesh with the energy.
Anyway,
Here
yeah.
we can do it. It's easy. We walk in the woods.
Yeah.
But if you're there now, those people know what to use when they're in the woods, because you can't have those European cologne on you and go in the woods. You'll be dead. They'll be like, who's this danger coming to us? They don't eat you up.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to blend in with the energies, with the elements when you're in nature. So what I'm saying this to say, when people are coming to the woods, you don't want to use all those synthetic cologne. Even though we don't have those dangerous insects, just get into the custom of blending or connect with the energy. Get some rosemary, and you can use that as a cologne or whatever when you come in the woods. Don't use all the synthetic stuff, because you're connecting with the energy of nature. You don't want all that synthetic to be on your body, because then it's also put you out of sync with the energy. And this is where your energy could be, because I went home last night after being in the dark. You know how we walk through the dark, and I had a symbol on the wall, and when I look at it, it was vibrating. And I know that's because I spent a little time in the dark there when we were walking out. And it's like, wow, it was like, wow, I like that, you know? So I look at that as like, oh, that's a good experiment to really work. Because in certain cultures, children, when they're born, they leave them for days and upon weeks in the dark to get them sensitized with the energy. Because in the room, you're in a dark room.
Darkness, yeah.
You know, and you should not lose sight of that, because the light itself is artificial. Because remember, until they bring in electricity, all we had was the lights of the moon and the stars. But now we look at them as enemies.
Yeah, yeah. And the interesting thing is, like, they disappear when there's artificial light.
Yes, seen.
Yeah, so there's so much that is lost
Mhm.
in light, as opposed to darkness. You can see further into the elements,
Yes. Mhm.
So yeah, again, my brother, it's like, we can be here all night, But again, obviously, again, I'll say, you're always welcome whenever there's something significant, like
Yeah.
the full moon.
Well, we have something significant coming up. I get you on that. That Mercury goes retrograde on the 14th. I did a write-up. I send it to you. Mercury goes retrograde in Scorpio on the 14th, opposing the planet Uranus. Scorpio.
Were you saying 13th this week?
This week, 13th,
Okay.
14th of this week. And so Mercury is the planet of communication. And when it goes retrograde, you have miscommunication, because Mercury is actually operating on more of the inner side and gives you a kind of understanding that is not relevant to how you understand things. So during a Mercury retrograde, we ask people to double check everything and triple check everything. And one of the things about this, because it's retrograde in Scorpio, which represents the dark water, they say that still water that is dark and you don't know what's on there. That means it's gonna drain the swamp. In that sense, it brings up something from way down beyond that dark waters that may may startle people. And so people need to be careful as we go into this Mercury retrograde, which is also opposed the planet that Mercury is exalted in. Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, and both of them are in an opposing energy. So this means that a lot of things gonna come to the surface, such as the issues of values. You understand? The issues of value is going to come to the surface, and things that we should value that we don't value, and we get caught up in the skirmish of the darker or the negative sides. Those may blow up in our face, and so we need to be aware that this week, and especially because also today begins under the yellow warrior. So for the next 13 days from today, is the energy of the warrior is very strong. That energy of the warrior is coming from the sun. It's that every 13 days the sun energy shifts for different, what they call Zolkin in the Mayan system, and those energy plays out in society, in our life. And those also have a higher active, which I was talking about, the 5,125 years. That's the higher active of the cycle. The lower active of the cycle is 260 years. So you got different cycles of those cycles build up into higher active. So every 13 days we change in cycle. So this begins a new 13-day cycle, similar to our week.
Okay, so that impact then, as you've just described, can that be described as vibration? I was going to say frequency, but frequency again to a certain extent is vibration.
Yeah.
But there are negative as well as positive energies. So I'm understanding from what you said that the significance of this warrior,
yes,
on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be on every individual?
It plays out in society. So what you're having is the war of the words. So people need to be careful, because you get caught up in the war of the words because of the retrograde, miscommunication, and being on the warrior. Is that sometimes we could calculate things wrong. And that's why we said double check and triple check. Because what happens sometimes, people think they hear you say something that you don't say, and then they give you the stink on that. You understand? And so people need to be aware and need to be double check and triple check everything in connection under this energy. Interesting, because the movie that I was going to recommend to watch in connection to the New World Order system that we're going through is The Enemy of the State. I don't know if you remember, you've seen that movie. You remember the movie?
I can't remember seeing it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Because in there was interesting, because the miscommunication was in there. Is that the lawyer who was Will Smith was representing a mafia, yeah, and the mafia, when he showed the mafia that he had a tape with the man, and that means if that tape gets out, he can go to prison because he's on parole. So the man says, I need to know who made that tape, because I want that document so he don't get out. But Will Smith get caught up in another tape, had nothing to do with that, where the government actually, which is the enemy of the state, they killed actually a government official, killed what they call it, a politician, and he was caught on tape. So they wanted to get the tape from Will Smith. Anyway, case in point, Will Smith get caught up with the guy. They wanted to kill Will Smith, but Will Smith said, I got the tape. I got to take you to the man who have the tape. He take him to the mafia who have a different tape, not that tape, and tell the mafia, said, this is the man that have the tape. So now the two of them quarreling over tape that have nothing to do with the same tape that they discussed. They're different, two different conversations, but that was his getaway because he pinned the two enemies against one another.
Yeah.
You see, and sometimes, yeah.
And again, it's a strategy, it would appear, of the West.
Yes.
And then they kind of visualize it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're preconditioned, and then they then draw you into it, so it then becomes like a norm, a reality.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the movie, why I'm recommending it, because it shows you how much the what they call it, how much they actually try to curtail people's freedom through electronic surveillance. Government using satellite, using different things that they put on people to frame them or to follow them around, So it gets a lot of that, especially because we're in COVID-19 and what they think. Enemy of the state.
Yeah, and the same 5G, which is frequency modulated.
Yes.
Oh, my people. Yeah, if you don't have knowledge, then what can we say? Enough is enough nonetheless.
Yeah, you talk too much.
Yes.
Talk too much.
You hear that? I talk too much. Imagine that. Yes, but I'm blessed. Yeah, I am blessed. Yes. I'm vexed. Yeah, my family. Yeah, we've come to an end. Yeah, we've given our time. We've not given our all. There's more to come, but bear with us until such a next time. Yeah, have a fantastic week. Remain strong. Yeah, be resolute. Have an open mind. Know who your God is. Yeah, and family, extended family. Yeah, find the love, because love is a solution to all things. Yeah. So let me leave you with the last few words from the good book. As love is the key to our destiny, and good is all. Life without learning is barren and meaningless. Yeah, there's nothing as precious to one as a sound mind in a sound body. Yeah. So, my brother Galactic Clyde, I'll give you thanks. Yeah. And I look forward to our work. I look forward to the walk, the herbal walk, obviously the drumming, the labyrinth, all the things that you do. Obviously, we've connected, and long may that continue.
And yes, I would say I don't have to give up my number, because somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody knows me. So you can get my number from there.
Yeah, he's in the sky. Yeah, it's astrological. Yeah, says up in the air. Yeah, so yeah, manners, respect, and more love to the family.
Thanks, Clive, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, I'll continue as best as, Yeah, so long life with good health, my brother. Yeah, and bless radio. Yeah, for the opportunity for us to know ourselves. Yeah, so until next week, my family, Jah guide and protect you always. Yeah, manners and respect. Every time.
Run away, run away, run away.
The runaway slave is running away.
Take some time before we all can see the change that surrounds our minds are killing us slowly. I've got to get out of some say it's to no avail. Youth's got to recognize the motherland again. I'm living in a danger zone, so far away from home. Look how they're taking advantage of we, yeah. Oh, Babylon, you're wrong, so wrong, so wrong. A power gun, hold on. I said your judgment won't be long. Oh, brother man, be strong. Put down your weapon, oh Lord. Cause divide and rule is the wicked one's master plan. Why, oh, many have lost their lives fighting for the cause. And oh, so many know not what they're fighting for.